What's happening, everybody? Do you ever go to a place, speaking of, when I did the vlog, my vlog, what was that? Day before yesterday, about customer service. You can see right here, this window, I'm at a gas station, and it's like behind here is a grocery store. Right here is a gas station. I had to stop here and pick up a couple of items before I head off to work. And, the lady in there seems like she is not too crazy about her job. I mean, the way I pulled up here, because it's raining. I mean, it's pouring down pretty good now. It's raining, so I just pulled up under this awning here so I could get right out and not have to get wet. I walked up to the window, and she kind of looked at me like, "What are you doing? You're not getting gas. You're not supposed to be pulling up like that." Now, this lady looked to be probably about, I don't know, I'd say she's in her late 60s, something of that nature. But I'm sure she's retired and is probably working there part-time, and nothing wrong with that whatsoever. It just she gave me that look like, I was doing something terribly wrong. Just like I shouldn't even be there. And I can tell you, with my job, that, I've dealt with the public for many, many years. Delivering milk, I've had to deliver to stores for years and years and years. And so far, I've been able to get away from that. But so I've been to these stores where they're called receivers, where they check you in when you're bringing in product into the store. Some receivers can be really nice, really laid back, just like you and me, normal. And you run across some, like that lady back there, that just gives you that go to H look, You're like, oh God, You ever run across people and they're just miserable, and they're not happy unless they bring you down and make you miserable? You ever notice that? Man, I've seen plenty of people like that. This one lady I delivered to the store, and she was just miserable all the time. She was an older lady, and I guess she had just figured that she got a raw deal in life or something. I don't know. I guess she just didn't like her job. She didn't like life. She didn't like anybody. And I've seen her quite a few times throw some vendors out that went there to deliver, because they get kind of ill with her, and she'd throw them out, throw them out of the store. Well, I refused to be like that, and I said, I'm not gonna let this lady get to me, So I just kept smiling and, hey, how you doing, kind of deal. And at first, she didn't care for that. And then after a while, she kind of, I guess she was cool, I guess. But I have seen some of them, though, that it don't matter what you do, they're going to be the way they are. They're just going to be miserable. And, that's sad, man. I was glad to get away from that. I was like, man, you got to be kidding me. Such a dreary such a dreary day. Such a dreary day. If I get it right, here in South Carolina. It's raining. It's nasty. Now, the one good thing is the temperature. The temperature is 68 degrees. It's nice and comfortable. And I love that. I love that part. Now, my wife told me a couple of days ago that she saw on the news that August and September is supposed to be a lot more below average temperatures. Let's just put it that way. It's supposed to be really cool. And I was like, I'll tell you what, I'll take that. What are they building here? Oh, they're building a bank. It's going to be a new bank. Wow, okay. And yeah, below average temperature is supposed to be really cool. And I'm like, yeah, I'm all for that. I'm so sick of this heat. Just had enough of summer, Some people love summer. When I was younger, yeah. But now, all I do is drive. I'm only at home to, I get home, I go to sleep. I wake up, I'm there for a couple hours, and I got to leave, and I'm on the road again. Now, I didn't work yesterday. Yesterday was Monday. I didn't have a load. And like I said, when school kicks back in, everything will be full throttle. It's kind of hit and miss right now since school is out. Kind of hit and miss, but that's getting ready to change. I noticed when I went to Walmart the other day to get some stuff for the house, they have the back to school supplies out. Everything is out, so not long now. Not long now. Yes, back to school. Boy, I remember those days. My mom would take me to the store and get some new clothes. And I always look forward, I don't know why, but I always look forward to getting like the new notebooks. See, when I was a kid, the big thing was Trapper Keeper notebooks. That was the cool thing in the 80s and, you know, early 80s. Stuff like that. I'm giving away my age. That was the cool thing. And you get a new book bag. The clothes I wasn't crazy about, but getting a new notebook and stuff like that. And all that excitement of having new stuff, it all vanished after the first day of school. Because then you were back in school, you're like, oh God. And wow, yeah, after the first day or two, I was like, I'm ready to be out of school again, you know. I did pretty good in school. I was what you call an average student. You know, I wasn't outstanding. You know, I never made the honor roll or nothing like that. I was always average. Made B's and C's. Had my shares of D's and F's too. I had to repeat the 7th grade. You know, I didn't do too good the first time around in 7th grade because it was a new school, a whole different neighborhood, having to be bused across town, and it was just a hard experience for me. You know, a lot of the other kids took to it really well, and for me it was just hard. It was a hard change. I was going from one area of town that I was used to as a kid, and you know, having to be transplanted to a whole nother area of town that was really bad. I don't know, as a kid I didn't like it, but you know, got it right the second time around. And wow. So yeah, so technically I was supposed to graduate in 88, but I didn't graduate till 89. That's okay. I got out of there. And I remember my dad asking me, are you going to go to college? I said, no. And, you know, he said, okay. He said, you better get you a damn job. I remember that, sure as, I'm telling you, man, I remember that. So when I graduated, you know, Mom and Dad was at the graduation. They let me stay home for 2 weeks. They said, you can have 2 weeks vacation since you graduated. Because I didn't think I was going to graduate. It got to the point where I had skipped so many days, I didn't think I was going to make it, but I made it. I had to, what they call, appeal. Can you believe this? I missed so many days I had to appeal just so I could graduate. That's sad, man. I never done stuff like that before until I was like a senior in high school, you know. I did it a time or two here and there in 10th and 11th, but my senior year, man, I'd skipped way too much. All I cared about was going to the music store, getting with a buddy of mine who moved out of town to a whole other state. He dropped out of school for the time being. He didn't end up going back and getting his diploma, but at that point in time, he dropped out. Me and him would get together and jam. I'd drive like an hour and a half away from home to another state. And we would sit there and jam, and I'd have to be back at home at a certain time because my mom would call at 2:15 every afternoon, so I had to be back home by that time. It was crazy, man. When you're young, you do stupid stuff. And but my dad, they gave me 2 weeks. I graduated, gave me 2 weeks. After that, I went to work. Got my first full-time job. I mean, I worked all through high school. I had part-time jobs all through high school, you know. Just what I call nickel and dime jobs, you know, minimum wage jobs. And then, yeah, graduated high school. I went to work, and then that was it. It's been like that ever since. And then that's when you start growing up a little bit, and you see, you know, the people you went to school with that knuckled down in the books, and they went to college, and they, you know, did the hard work, and now they're, you know. So it's just a choice you make, you know, and that was the choice I made. So that's just what I have to do, you know. So I have no idea what college life is like, you know, none of that stuff. And I just was to be totally honest with you, I was so ready to get out of school. I didn't want to see another school again. Sad but true. But anyway, a little history about my education. So yeah, I graduated and all that and had a great time. Made a lot of great friends. Of course, when you grow up, you get out of high school, you know, you don't see them people no more. You know, I never went to a class reunion. Never did none of that. Never really cared to. And then Facebook came out. And when Facebook came out, you got to reconnect with all your friends you went to school with, high school and all that stuff, you know. So that was pretty cool. And you get to see what people look like now, because I haven't seen, until Facebook, I ain't seen nobody, because I didn't live in the same state. I'd moved. You know, I moved to South Carolina. Let's see, I graduated in '89. And I moved to South Carolina in like the first part of '95. So I'd seen one or two people I went to school with, you know, after graduation, after everybody was working full time, you know. I'd seen a couple of guys, but just here and there. It's like a hit and miss thing, you know. You know, everybody started to have families, you know, you get married, you have kids, you know, stuff like that. Things change, man. And that's something that I never thought would change. You know, when you're young like that, you don't think things will change. You think they'll just stay like that, but they don't. Learning lessons through life. Like I said on the vlog the other day, learned quite a few, you know. So, and you know, certain things that I saw in school I thought would stop when I got into the real world, like stupid people and doing stupid stuff, you know what I mean? I mean, just people acting a fool, and fights, and people it's just, you know, immature stuff. And I was like, man, I'll be glad to get out of school, that way I don't have to deal with this stupid crap. Sure enough, I found out real quick, it's out here in the real world too, you know. They're everywhere, you know. You got good people, you got bad people, and you know, it's just the way it is. So, but anyway, so like I said, after graduation, 2 weeks they gave me, I went to work. It's been like that ever since. So, but I've had a great life, you know. I mean, yeah, I've had ups and downs like anybody else. I've been through some pretty hard things. You know, a lot of it I don't share on here because it's not meant to be shared on here. Those are my personal things, you know. But it's been a good life, man. I'm very happy. I'm thankful I have a job. I'm thankful I have something to drive. I just saw a guy when I was getting gas. He's on one of them little, I guess you call them one of them little scooters, like moped deals. He's got a rain jacket on, and he started the little scooter up, and he's having to reach down with his arm and play with the throttle, I guess because his throttle's broke on the handle. So he's having to reach with his other hand to do the throttle on the little moped or whatever, going down the road like that. I said, see there? I said, he probably don't have a driver's license. You know, he probably lost his license in a DUI or something like that, you know, but those were his choices. You know, I'm not judging the guy. I'm just saying, I think he made some bad decisions, you know. We all make some crazy decisions sometimes, but, you know, I can tell you this. I don't know about where y'all live, but here in South Carolina, they just lowered the, what do you call it? The rate, like your breathalyzer rate, when you know, I can't remember what it's called right now. The alcohol rate, you know, if you have to do a breathalyzer, they just lowered it. So if you have one beer, blood alcohol level is what I'm trying to say. So if you have one beer and you drive, you're done, buddy. And here in South Carolina, to get over that and get that stuff fixed, it's going to cost you easily 10 grand. So again, stupid people and people with common sense all through life. You know, I was like, wow, man. And sometimes just crazy things happen to good people, you know, and people that are law-abiding citizens and they do what they're supposed to do. Crazy things happen. It sure as heck's happened to me. And I'm sorry for the shakiness of the camera. These roads in South Carolina, I can't stress enough how bad they are. But anyway. So there we go. There is an afternoon vlog for you. I'm heading to work, as you probably already guessed. And it is about 3:15, heading to work. and hopefully get this day started safely and get down the road. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Thank you for your time. Hope you have a fantastic day. Until then, we'll see you in the next video. This is Joe. Bye-bye.